Hello, fellow Murderers. Today is Wednesday, February 28th, 2024, and it's a great day to solve a murder. Today we have the mystery of the unfortunate demise of the forest ranger. We have three 3x3 grids. We have suspects and weapons, suspects and locations, and weapons and locations. As always, each suspect can only have one weapon in one location. We can mark a no with 1 click, a yes with 2, a question mark with 3, and clear out with 4. We will fill out the entire grid today as we make our way through our clues and evidence, and today we have statements as well. Let's go ahead and meet our suspects. Today we have Miss Saffron, Dr. Crimson, and Mixed Tangerine. The weapons are a brick, poisoned tea, and a golden bird. The locations today are High-End Tent, the Party Lake, and the Hot Springs Spa. Alright, so let's go ahead and flip back to suspects. As I mentioned, we have clues and evidence and also statements today. On days when we have just clues and evidence, you'll see a longer list of clues and evidence and a final red clue that tells you either what committed the murder, like what weapon committed the murder, or where the murder took place. That allows you to identify the suspect. Today we do not have that. We have to use deductive reasoning to go through each of these statements and find out which one is the lie. So 2 of these are true and 1 of them is the lie, and we'll go through and try to figure out which one is which. Let's go ahead and get started with our clues and evidence. The second tallest suspect had never been in a high-end tent. So for this, we are going to go through our suspects. We see that Miss Saffron is 5'2", Dr. Crimson is 5'9", and Mixed Tangerine is 5'5", which means Mixed Tangerine is our second shortest suspect or second tallest suspect. Both are true in this case since it's 3. So we can just go in and say we've got Mixed Tangerine and a high-end tent, and they were not there. So go ahead and cross that out. All right. An Aquarius was at the Hot Springs Spa, typical Aquarius. Let's go ahead and flip through our suspects again. Miss Saffron is a Libra. Dr. Crimson is an Aquarius. And Mixed Tangerine is a Pisces. That means Dr. Crimson was at the Hot Springs Spa. So let's go ahead and mark that off. Dr. Crimson, Hot Springs Spa. And this actually allows us to fill out the rest of this grid because now we know that Mixed Tangerine was neither in the high-end tent or at the Hot Springs Spa, which means then that Miss Crimson must have been in the high-end tent. So that fills out our location grid for us. So that's it. Not a lot of clues and evidence today. It's a statement day, so let's go ahead and check out our statements. Dr. Crimson says they brought a brick, so that'd be a check here. Mixed Tangerine says a bird was at the Hot Springs Spa, so that would mean that Dr. Crimson had to bring the bird. And Miss Saffron is saying that she brought the golden bird. So these are all kind of intertwined. Let's go ahead and start just going one by one. We're going to assume one of these is true and we're going to assume the first one is a lie and the other 2 are true and kind of make our way down the line there. So Dr. Crimson, let's say Dr. Crimson did not bring a brick. So I'm going to go ahead and mark off an X there to say Dr. Crimson did not bring a brick. And then that assumes that these other 2 are true. And we can tell right away that won't work because if Miss Saffron did bring a golden bird and a golden bird was at the Hot Springs Spa, those can't both be true because Miss Saffron was not at the Hot Springs Spa. So I'm going to go ahead and cross this off. And let's see. Okay, so that must be true because it does not work if that is incorrect. So let's say yes, Dr. Crimson brought a brick. All right, so we'll go ahead and mark that in. And again, we're doing that because when we tried to show this as false, the other 2 would not comply with the truth there. So that one must be true. Okay, now we have down to 2, and this is actually going to be a fairly easy one today. So a golden bird was at the Hot Springs Spa, and I brought a golden bird. This already we know cannot be true because it would require Dr. Crimson to be at the to have the golden bird, and we know that that is not true. That is not feasible. So this is actually a pretty easy one. Of these remaining two, we can see immediately which one is the lie, and that is Mixed Tangerine's statement that a golden bird was at the hot springs spa. So let's go ahead and say that is the lie, and of course then that means we have Mixed Tangerine with the cup of poisoned tea and Miss Saffron with a golden bird, satisfying her statement there. So again, this allows this statement to be true, this statement to be true, and that forces this statement to be false, and that's how we were able to do that. So let's go ahead and finish out our grid. And I will say, these aren't always so immediate for me. Sometimes these take a while and I kind of go through the whole grid. It really just depends. This one though kind of like had a forced elimination pretty quickly. So there's our grid, and let's go ahead and make our accusation, see if we're right. So we've got Mixed Tangerine with poisoned tea at the party lake, and we're gonna make our accusation. Were we right? Phew, all right, we were right. Great. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this was a helpful walkthrough for you, and we'll see you tomorrow.